TSF Entertainment.
Yo, what up, though?
What up, though?
What's good, folks? Welcome back to TSF Entertainment. We got none other than the man himself, Jack of Jordans, and your boy DJ Fresh Your Highness. And we are bringing you BMF Episode 3 Sanctuary. Jack of Jordans, what you think of the episode?
Probably a 5. Probably a 5. I might be being generous.
I'll give it that same. You would read my mind. This one, man, it was like for real. It was like the episode was damn near predictable. If y'all watch our predictions video, it was like 85% right for the most part.
Yeah, I ain't learned nothing. It wasn't. I think it might have been just a filler episode.
That's what I'm hoping. But normally our filler episodes is what 5 and 6.
Yeah, normally, but
yeah, and then we start getting to the nitty gritty. But yeah, this one I would have to give a 5 as well. It was like you said, didn't really learn nothing. The way the way they broke it up. I mean, I get it, but it was just like some of them joints. It was like you could have just let all of this ride together instead of breaking it up. And then like some of the stuff felt like we could have did without this scene.
we could have did without a lot of scenes, and some of it that's why I say I feel like it's a filler, because we could have did without so many scenes, and some of the stuff we already kind of knew. Like we gonna get into it.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it for sure. So let's go right on here and get into it. Episode 3 synopsis says Jack the Rapper weekend turns into chaos when Meech, Glock, the MKs, and the Red Dogs collide. Meech is determined to foster BMF in Atlanta, starting by purchasing a home with the help of his father. So, first scene right off the bat, which we said in our predictions video, was none other than a flashback, which shows Meech and Charles. They having a heart-to-heart bond, playing music together, instruments. So right off the bat, we already know that that's what this episode was going to be focused around, was Meech and his pops. Like it was a given. Plus, from the synopsis, we knew anyway. So fast forward to daytime. In the present time, Meech rose up, which was crazy because I didn't even know. I guess I wasn't. I guess I hadn't been paying attention enough. I didn't even know Meech had a crib there. So
Me either.
Yeah, so this was new when I found that out. So Meech pulls up to his crib and some goons come running out, which he starts firing off at them. And Stack says that they came and got him for all of the work. We told y'all Stacks was moving funny. We've been saying it since episode 1. And this is confirmed that Stacks is moving funny. This episode right here. Right. At least that was one thing we knew. This confirmed he moving funny. He moving funny as hell.
Yeah, I just think he didn't like maybe he didn't like the idea of maybe taking orders from Meech. That could be what it is. I really can't put my finger on it, but we just knew that the chemistry just wasn't there. The synergy was off.
Yeah. I kind of feel like later on, I got a feeling later on it's going to come out that Stacks planned all this whole thing. Like it wasn't even really a robbery or nothing. He was just like, we're going to make it seem like it's a robbery or whatnot. And you know what I'm saying? Like those was his peoples, or he got somebody to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like
it could be.
Yeah. Like I was just trying to figure out why he was at Meech's crib in the first place, but I guess they was bagging up the work or whatnot. But like I said, to find out, I had no clue that Meech even had a crib there. I thought the whole time he was staying at Duffy joint.
That probably is his people, man. Like at first watch, I was like maybe it had something to do with the MKs or something. But then as you go further down the line, it seemed like Glock had. He had an opportunity which he took to rub stuff into Meech's face. And he ain't mentioned Stacks. It was like, why mention him but not mention Stacks? So yeah, it could be his own people.
Yeah, and it could have been his own people.
But we already knew that Stacks was moving iffy
Stacks
anyway.
Moving. hella dirty, moving hella dirty. After that, Meech goes to the club. He bumps into Angel and he tells Angel like, "Hey, you know what I'm saying? I know you set us up, whatnot with the whole thing, to get in with the MKs. You told them all this info," which Angel says, "No, I told them nothing. I don't know what you're talking about." All
But
that there.
we said on the previous show that Greeny probably gave her the information, in which Greeny anticipated that she was gonna give me some information, but made it
Mm-hmm.
seem like Angel got set up.
Yep.
And we also said, I'm not sure if it was you or if it was Treese that we said that she probably wasn't there because Greeny put her hands on her.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. That's right. Yep. Because the last episode, everybody definitely was asking like, "Where your girl at?" and all this other stuff.
Yeah, she the
Waiting their
headliner. Where's
radars
she
go
at?
up. Yep. And then
And
as
he said
soon as
damaged
Angel steps,
merchandise or something.
yep, the merchandise. And then as soon as Angel steps off, here he come.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if anybody else noticed or if you noticed. One thing I've noticed is that of course, his name is Greeny. I'm almost sure like I've seen him in nothing else but green,
I ain't even noticed that.
which makes me think like it's like a subliminal message to say like he's a snake.
It could be. I ain't
Like,
even noticed that. That's actually a
I,
good observation on you.
yeah, I might have to go back and watch the other two, but I think I haven't seen him in nothing else but green, which to me is like a subliminal for like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like he's a snake. But Greeny rolls um, up the beach, you know what I'm saying, and talking to him and whatnot. And during their whole discussion of everything, Meech notices two new faces that come into the club, and it is none other than Jay Pusha and Carter. And you can see from the whole St. Louis jersey that, and the way they moving, that they out of towners. Plus, it's for Jack the Ripper weekend, Jack the Rapper weekend, which Greeny tells Meech about. Tells him he got a lot to learn and how big the the rapper Jack the Rapper thing is down there. I actually
Mm-hmm.
like that they did the that was the one thing I liked about the episode, was that they at least gave a little history, a little history lesson on the Jack the Rapper convention. Because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people have no clue about it, like at all. You know what I'm saying? Unless they was
Mm-hmm.
around during that time. Like they had no clue about it. We gave y'all a little bit of background in our prediction video about it, but they kind of went to like a little bit more in depth about it on the episode. But I'm glad that they did. Yeah, here, the introduction into Jay Pusha and Carter from St. Louis, which we're going to touch on their characters a little bit more once we get to a particular scene at Jack the Rapper convention. From there, now they back at Duffy's crib. Stacks holding this that whole thing that cracked me up. He got some ice packs on his head and whatnot, and Stacks here, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like Stacks is just,
That's all he did. Kept waving everybody off.
yeah, he ready for war. He already
Yeah.
ready for war. He's like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Remy Ransom still out here. We ain't took him out. The people that got me, like, yo, you know what I'm saying? We need to take them out. And Meech is just like, in due time, they're gonna get what's coming to them. But let's just get this work and everything that's going on. And because while they waiting for the work, Meech goes and pawns his Rolex to break everybody off in the crew, which Stacks didn't like for whatever reason. Um, but it was
Because he didn't
hilarious.
do it.
Probably so. Probably, especially when
Yeah.
his man told him, like, you ain't never gave up. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You ain't never pawned no
No,
Rolex and gave up.
when little baby told him.
Yeah, it was like, I'm sticking here. Like, Pain,
Yeah.
yeah, little baby character Pain was like, yeah, you ain't never did this for us. I'm
Mm,
sticking here. I'm sorry. So that probably
yeah.
definitely pushed his button. Like, you got my own soldiers turning against me.
Yep.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so of course that pushed him. And for folks that don't know, that is actually a true story. Meech actually did that in real life. That's this
Facts.
part. This part of the episode is not fiction at all. You know what I'm saying? I know the whole BMF um people think all of it, it's just fiction. Like there's actual truth. It's truth, mixed in with fiction. But this part actually happened in real life where Meech sold his Rolexes to break off his crew to tie him over until they got the work back in. So again, we see the already the tension between Stacks and Meech, and Stacks decides to roll out, and everybody falls back and stays with Meech. So back in Detroit, we got Sterl and Hoop here eating at T's restaurant, and I'm like, damn, bro, like they always eating, like like these last two episodes, that's all we see them. They just sitting there eating, like they don't do nothing else but just
In the
eat.
restaurant, in the same spot.
Same spot in the restaurant. T rolls up, and this is where I mean not T, Hoop tells T about the dissension with the other crews while they're waiting on the work, and how Ren King has pretty much pulled everybody from them because they don't have no work. Like everybody's leaving and they're all moving over to the Ren King and going to work with her. At the same time, while they're discussing this, T gets a call from none other than Markeisha. If you watched the prediction video and you watched last week, we already called this.
We knew this was coming.
We knew this was coming. I'm
We
like,
knew this was coming.
all of a sudden now, I was like, as soon as he gets back close with his baby mama Lawanda, now all of a sudden you come calling back, and now it's oh, I miss you, etc., whatever. And it was just like, yo, you was just telling me to get out the crib.
And
And
am I the
I
only
paid
one that
for
thinks
it.
she deserves a fade? I think Lawanda need to put hands on her.
I got a feeling before the season over, Lawanda is.
Yeah, I think Lawanda need to put hands on her. Hands and feet, probably.
I see it's coming. I see it coming. I'll be surprised if they don't have some type of, because remember she almost did last season at the hair show.
And I ain't even gonna lie, like it's a scene in here that we're gonna get to that I actually called Markeisha out of her name. And you probably know which one I'm talking about too. You
I think
probably
I
know
know
which one I'm
exactly what
talking
part
about.
you're talking about. Yeah, we know.
I called her out of her name, and I was like, "Oh God, this."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was the same way. But
Yeah.
T, she tells T to come on over.
Let's talk about it. I ain't got no
Yeah.
panties on.
Yeah, T like whatever. I ain't even trying to hear that. I got the stuff that's going on.
I applauded T, but I knew
Man.
his tender peen ass
Bruh.
was gonna come running back.
I was like, that's right, T. I was like, T putting his foot down. So I was literally like, okay.
Bang the horn on her like I ain't got time to be talking to you.
I literally thought like this, okay, we ain't about to see Markeisha for the rest of the episode. I was like, he's standing firm, putting her in her place. He's like, I got other stuff I gotta handle. So he ends up calling the other crews to come in, and they automatically show the tension with T. They don't like the way he running BMF. They say they were only loyal to Meech. They're not loyal to him. They don't like the way he roll, and T tells them straight up, like, you know what I'm saying? This is how it is. If you don't like it, roll out. And of course, that's literally what they do. They decide to go ahead and roll out. He was about to
Why
lose.
you think why you think they did that though? Like why you think they don't want to follow T?
I think like the dude, I don't know the character name, the one that's here with the fade. I think he kind of described it was just like, I think it was more so like because Meech moved a certain way. Like Meech always showed everybody love. He kind of gave people like a little bit of leniency because he said, like, you know what I'm saying, we a couple of dollars short, y'all on our neck, and all this different stuff, like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking like they not used to the way, they don't like the way T running stuff, and then plus they've been waiting on the plug for so long, you know what I'm saying? And like probably
Running
T ain't
dry.
like T probably ain't been keeping them updated like how Meech would do, like, hey, I'm gonna do this, like, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
Frank King just went on ahead and grabbed him, and that was it for them. They like whatever, like said I got kids to feed and stuff right now, so they just ain't want to follow him for whatever reason. So they didn't follow him. His man Diz, that he's known to play Little League together, almost left, but T talks some sense into him. And Diz lets T know, like, okay, cool, I cancel my order with Ren King, and T tells him, nah, don't cancel your order. Keep everything moving. What I need you to do is I want you to get info for me about Ren King and about the moves that she is making and whatnot, which is exactly what we come to find out that Diz does later on. So here we got Twan and Detective Bryant. And I believe it was Jack or maybe it was Trees last week that said this was going to be the person that was going to that Blaze put into Ren King's put into her crew, put a new
Mm-hmm.
worker in the crew, and that's exactly who it is. Detective Bryant comes in. Yeah, comes in. Basically, don't knock. Twan already got some little heat, like what I'm saying. They don't knock an E course or whatnot. They have a little tension, and of course, Ren King, tells Swan, which is we come to find out is her cousin, to chill out and everything. And Detective Bryant ends up telling her, gives her, an idea on how to move her work, which he basically tells her, hey, use an ambulance, like,
Mm-hmm.
which when he said, I was like, dang, you know what?
That's
I ain't
smart.
never heard that before. I was like, that's smart.
That's
So
smart.
I was like, that was super smart right there. I have never ever heard a day in my life. I don't think any. I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever heard, even in real life. I don't think anybody I've ever heard of any drug kingpin using an ambulance.
Me either.
So I don't know how true part this is. I don't know how true this is. It could be true, it could not be true. Portion of it, but it was still a smart idea. So Ren King goes along with it. But she still lets them know, like, hey, I know my pops put you here, but this is my crew. So everything's got to be run through and approved by me. So we get Raw Dog Charles. He finally touches down in
Raw dog
Atlanta.
Charles.
Touches down in Atlanta to come see Meech. First stop Meech brings him to is Duffy's crib, and he shows Duffy. I mean, not shows Duffy, shows Charles around Duffy's studio and whatnot, which makes Charles happy because Charles was in the music biz and that was the type of stuff he wanted to build in his own house. So he sees how excited his pops is for seeing like the music, the studio, the acoustics, all that different type of stuff in Duffy's studio. So I thought here we were going to get something like, I thought Meech was going to say something like he was going to surprise him and be like, I bought you one back in Detroit or something like that, because he knows his pops love music. But I think
Maybe
maybe,
to persuade him to put his name on the house as I got you the studio.
yeah, I was thinking that as well. I'm thinking like maybe this was just like a little persuasion tactic, like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, this is what I've been doing down here, and
Yeah.
stuff. I'm still making moves, but maybe this will make you happy and whatnot. So he goes over to see the house that Meech has picked out, because Meech also wanted him to look over the house, look at the foundation, to make sure everything was cool and legit, which he does. Charles says, this is a dope house, great foundation and whatnot. But when it comes time to sign the papers, Charles is against it because Meech is forging documents of his pay, fake pay stub, and
He's an
all.
engineer.
Yep. And Charles ain't with it. Charles like, nah, like you get me wrapped up in your stuff, like my name on it, not yours. So Charles basically tells Meech, like I got to think on it. Meech, still trying to persuade him, like, this is a safe haven for me. And I was thinking in myself, I'm like, yo, Meech, like, I get what you saying, like, you know what I'm saying, like, hey, I need this because this will keep me safe. I don't have to go through what I went through, back at my other crib. But I'm like, bro, at the same time, you still in the street. So how safe you want to
Absolutely.
be? Like, you wouldn't have to get this crib if you wasn't in the lifestyle you're in. So, but I got what he's trying to do. He's basically just trying to finesse and, persuade his pops just to get the crib. So this thing here was actually hilarious to me. So we got Lucille and her cousin Estelle here at the bakery. I don't know if they were in the church. I think they were in the church because when Estelle
Yeah,
had
I think
made,
they was in the church.
yeah, when
Because
Estelle made,
Nicole wasn't, because Nicole was supposed to come, right?
Yeah, that's right. Nicole was supposed to come, but I guess she out with Breeze
Yeah.
because um,
Ha. I would
that's
breeze.
what she said when Lucille said, she wanted to be out with her little friends. That was the only person I could
Mm,
think of because that's the only person we
yeah.
saw this season. So
Uh-huh.
she must be hanging out with Breeze. Estelle and Lucille here. They end up talking about the doctor. It's crazy. I forgot his name already. Um,
Ah, I forgot his name too.
I forgot his name already. It's at the tip of my tongue. Y'all know who we talking about. I'm sure it's gonna come.
Maurice.
I'm sure it's gonna come back to me later on. Yeah,
It's
Dr. Maurice.
Maurice.
Yeah, Dr. Maurice. Talked about Dr. Maurice. Her cousin basically, say, hey, you need to go ahead and let him,
You get your
do some
boot smoked.
things. Yeah, let him do.
Get your
Let him.
back cracked.
Yeah, let him do some things. And you can tell Lucille, she wants to, but she's still like, it's unholy. I'm still married. Divorce ain't final. Plus, we know she's not over Charles and whatnot, and she's like, yeah, like, nah, I'm not about to do it. But at the same time, it still at least persuades her to, like, just go see what it's about, because you never know, what the future is going to be. So we know later on that Lucille actually goes and meet with Dr. Maurice. So back here at the restaurant, we got Hoop, Sterl, Diz, and T, and they're going over the whole route. This is where Diz lets them know exactly how they're moving, working, which is through an ambulance. So they go over the different routes that they can possibly use to bring the work in, and T ends up figuring out which route that they're going to use. So he sends Hoop out to go do it. Mm, Sterl tells Hoop to take cuts with him, his number one shooter, to make sure everything goes well and they can jack the ambulance to get the work from them. So while we see Cuts here in the car waiting for Hoop to come out, he's not paying attention, which neither one of them are. And I'll still be trying to figure this out. How y'all just don't see a random car? I don't care how far down it is. Like, even if it's dark, you're going to see two people sitting in the car
Right.
with no tents.
Right.
Like, you gonna see them. Like, it's almost impossible. Like, you gonna see them, but they don't see Detective Jen and Detective Amberson on a stakeout, looking at Cuts to figure out exactly what he's doing. So they're watching him, and while they're watching him, Hoop finally comes out, and they go off to get ready to jack the ambulance here. So we have Twan and Detective Bryant in the ambulance here, to bring the work to the Ring King, and Hoop and Cuts figure out exactly which way they're going. Now, this was the only problem I had with this scene, was like, I get it that they figured out which route they were going, but I'm
Hmm.
like, how you know exactly where to stop and, like, just wait? Like,
So when they talked to when he talked to my man who he played baseball with, he was already inside with Henrietta. He was already inside the crew. So I was assuming that because T kind of used him as a plant, I was assuming that she had said something, and that's kind of how they got the intel. That was just a part that we just didn't see. That's what I assumed when this part came up.
well, yeah, Diz gave him the intel, and that's when, back at the restaurant, he told him that's how
Hmm.
they gonna move it. But I was trying to figure out, like, how you knew the exact point on where to hit them, like, because I'm trying to remember, why did Twan and Brian even stop in the first place? No, that's right. Um, they had the ambulance hit something. Um,
Did it?
yeah, they had an accident. That's right. They had an accident. I can't remember what caused the accident, but they had an accident because I remember, and then that's when they rolled up on them. They rolled up on them, and that's when they ended up shooting Twan and tried to hit Detective Bryant, but they
Hmm.
missed. And also in the process, we saw Cuts ended up getting shot as Detective Jen and Detective Amberson rolled up. We see Detective Jen got shot in the shoulder while Amberson takes off after Cuts. While he's doing that, Hoop runs off, and Detective Bryant comes and takes out Twan as he was about to unalive Jen. I got a feeling two things is going to happen from this scene. Now, I'm trying to figure out, is Jen going to say something about Bryant working, or is she going to keep her mouth shut?
She keep her
Like,
mouth shut. She dirty too.
that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, is she going? Are they going to at some point start investigating Bryant now? Like, because they realized like he was in that ambulance with him, like, or whatnot, or you know what I'm saying? Or maybe she, like you said, she probably is, especially since he saved her life.
Yeah, he saved her life. But she dirty too, man. She sitting on 2 bricks.
Yeah, we still ain't seen them two bricks, so we still got to
Yeah,
figure out what's going on with those two bricks.
yeah, she dirty too.
So after that whole situation, Bryant delivers the ambulance back to Henrietta and
That's
basically
one rough looking woman.
it tells her like, hey, your cousin got unalive, he gone, which to me was, I would have figured that would have been like the first thing that would have popped up, like, yeah, you know what I'm saying, like he gone.
He
But
either locked up or he gone because he ain't here.
yeah, he ain't here. So it was like I was trying to figure out like why it took him so long to say like, yeah, he gone. Like you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Like he finito.
right, right.
Ren King, she gets highly upset, blasts off, just shoots up in the air, lets out some anger, and tells Bryant to sit down and tell him everything exactly what's happened. I think in this situation, this is going to come back to haunt him because he was the one who actually took out Bryant. I mean, Bryant was the one that actually took out
Actually took out
Twan.
Twine.
Yeah, took out Twan.
I don't see how though. Like, who's there to say anything? There's nobody gonna be there to say anything. Like, we gonna wait for ballistics to come back? Like, I don't really see how.
I mean,
It'd be interesting to see it.
it could be possible. I'm thinking he might end up saying something to him, and you know what I'm saying, to get the info out of him. Because remember, Hoop was still there. I don't know how long Hoop was there. Um, could be
Oh,
quite.
right. Because he could use that as a chess piece.
Yeah,
Because later down the line they having a conversation, and Brian wasn't really feeling the conversation.
it could be maybe Jen slip up, say something.
I don't think Jen gonna slip up. I think she will hold it tight.
It might even be, well, no, it can't be Detective Amberson because she was chasing after Cut. So I don't know, but I just got the strangest feeling. Him taking out her cousin is somehow some way it's gonna come back to haunt him, one way or another. So here we back at Lawanda's crib, or mom's crib, and CPS pulls up, and CPS pulls up because they got a call about Terry's Junior.
Who
Uh,
made the call?
being safe. I'm still trying to figure this out. I definitely didn't think it was Markeisha for a second.
I didn't think it was Markeisha either. I thought it was Henrietta and Brian.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's one of them because Henrietta Pops got such he got a lot of power. He got a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people in high places. So you know what I'm saying, he made
Mm-hmm.
a call or two to try to,
Mm-hmm.
slow T up. So
Right.
I'm thinking it's one of them, but I'm trying to think, are we getting any more new characters? I don't think we're getting any more new characters this season that we haven't seen yet. But it's got to be one of them, or it's somebody that we about to least expect to call whatchamacallit. But um, CPS comes in, says, they got a report, so they checking in on Terry Jr., whatnot. The entire time, Terry Jr. is coughing up a storm, which I was like, oh, that's just giving her ammo because LaWanda Murphy over
Mm-hmm.
there in the corner just smoking up a storm. So,
Mm-hmm.
Terry tells her, Terry Jr. just got a cold. Um, so she says they're gonna follow up with a report and everything. Of course, after that, LaWanda automatically says it's Markeisha and gets pissed off and tells Terry he needs to go handle that immediately. Terry tries to tell her, like, I don't think Markeisha would do it, but he's gonna go handle it anyway, which he does, and we see him come over to his house.
This is where I called her out her name.
Yeah. I already knew it.
Because she said You just come walking in my house like that? Are you what? I was like, B word.
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
Are you serious, B word?
Are you
You
serious right now?
you tripping. You can't be serious right now. The only reason you in this house is because one, you said that we was gonna be together, but then you finally moved into this big house knowing that you couldn't get ready to go back. You couldn't go back to the house that Boom paid for. You knew
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't go there, so you persuade and finessed or even used the box to get
Yep.
Terry to buy this house. And then all of a sudden oh well, I don't think we should live together. I want us to be together, but I don't think we should live together. What? B word? Are you questioning me because I've walked into my house?
Bruh, I was thinking the same. I was just like, nah, she that. But I was glad that at least Terry said, "You mean my house that I
You're
bought?"
right.
Because I was like, "Shorty, I don't know what made you think this was your house." Because, and I'm still, I, I guess, tender DT right here. Like,
Right.
I guess he was just like, you know what? I'm gonna just leave her in here because I'm thinking in my mind, like, yo, is her name even on the paperwork? Like, is her name on any of the paperwork at all?
But you picking out furniture and all other types of stuff and marble this and Bubanga Bubanga floors and all, like, come on now, we ain't this whole said I was just like, I can't believe this B word right here. It had the audacity.
That's
Had the audacity. Where you
say
get your
that.
balls from, B word, but it's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I was just like, I was the same way. I was just like, really, like this, you know what I'm saying? I was like, bro, that's his crib, and I'm thinking like Terry, like, bro, she ain't on no paper. If she not on no paperwork, you should have just went on ahead to put her out. But we already know
Yes.
how tender DT is. So him and
Tender
Markeisha,
DT.
that's his new name now, Tender DT. Um, so him and Markeisha have a whole convo. And Markeisha tells him that it wasn't me that called CPS. I know what they would do to people like us in the system. I got two kids of my own, so it wasn't me at all. And of course, Tender DT falls for that whole situation. My head ain't in the game and straight and all of that stuff. So we don't think that it's her. So we get back here to Atlanta for the Jack the Rapper convention, and we see all different types of radio personalities, artists. I remember in one of the little scenes, I think it was little baby character Payne that had said something about they go to. I forgot what he called them something, but I think it was in a reference to Foo Schnickens because of
Hmm.
the way he said it and whatnot. As they walking in, of course we see Claw with the Techwood boys. They up in the convention, and in my head, the first thing I'm thinking, I'm like, yo, where's Remy Ransom? Because we ain't see he went in the last episode. We haven't seen him since episode 1, right?
Correct.
So I'm like, is Claude like the front runner now? Like what's going on with that whole situation in the Techwood boys? But we got Claude here who immediately sees Meech and the whole BMF crew and everything. We got Payne. Everybody has been, for whatever reason, been wanting Lil Baby's character to come on screen. We finally got him in this episode and whatnot. And during that, while Meech is ready to make some moves, this is when Duffy alerts him to his pops being at the convention as well, which pisses Meech off because Meech is trying to handle actual work and doesn't want his pops around because of how dangerous and the stuff that he's trying to do. But his pops has been trying to get to the Jack the Rapper family affair for years. It's been a dream of his, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm already here, so I'm coming up in the spot too."
Raw dog Charles was clean too.
Yeah, I was sitting there. I was like, "Yo, like, did did he get that out of Meat's closet, or like did Meach buy him a fit, or like what's going on?" Like he came in that joint like I don't think I've ever even seen Charles. It's clean on any of them, on any of the episodes. But
He usually had like a uniform on all the time.
I think, yeah, and I think even
Or
when he took Lucille out that time to dinner, I don't even think he was this clean. Like he
Nah,
was
he
just
ain't never been this clean. He's the cleanest we ever seen Raw Dog Charles.
yeah, had the fade all lined up, everything.
Yeah,
Fade
Meech got him together.
was immaculate. So Meech tries to get him out of the whatchamacallit, but of course Charles stays because he said again that was his lifelong dream to come to the Jack the Rapper convention. And now during that process, we get introduced back to the characters Jay Pusher and Carter from St. Louis, which Meets taps into to become basically a central hub to do some work together to connect. Now, for people who don't know the real story is the his connect that was in St. Louis that became part of the BMF family was J-Bo. And Jay Pusher here. If you don't know who J-Bo is, Google him. I already know the Jay Pusher character is playing J-Bo because they almost look exactly alike in a sense. So we do know that this is indeed true, as Meech did connect up with J-Bo out in St. Louis, and that was his front runner. That was his connect for St. Louis out there in BMF. And Meech tells him, I'm gonna come out there later on. We gonna connect and do some things and whatnot out there in St. Louis. After that, in the process, we finally get to see Glock, who Glock pretends to be a record exec
Mm-hmm.
to talk to Charles as he peeked Meech earlier talking to Charles. So he already knows that this is his
That's why
pop.
Charles shouldn't have been there.
Shouldn't have been there at all. So in our prediction videos, we was a little wrong about this one. We thought, like Glock was, gonna try to tell Charles, like, hey, this what your son doing or whatnot. I was gonna try to get some info on Meech, where he didn't. He was basically just trying to, in a sense, it might felt like set him up, saying, he was this big time record exec and we want, somebody on the team to do this and do that and whatnot. And so they have a conversation, and then we get to see the Tupac character, which we told y'all in our prediction video last week. We said there is going to be a character in this episode that plays Tupac. Now, I want
It's
to.
obvious though,
I
when
mean,
he with the bandana and the vest, like it's clear.
super obvious. Now,
Yeah.
I've been seeing so many people talk about this scene since the episode aired. Let me give y'all people the facts on this whole thing right here. Because I've been seeing so many people saying, like, oh, this ain't never happened. Tupac had hair back then, etc. The Jack the Rapper, Tupac went to the Jack the Rapper convention in 1993. This is 1993. Tupac had a bald head in 1993. He was wearing bandanas in 1993. This was the same year he went to Atlanta and he ended up shooting those two off duty police officers in Atlanta. You can, like Fredro Star says, do your Googles. You Google it, you'll see it's that infamous video, the infamous picture where he's hanging out the back of the Mercedes Benz with with his middle fingers up. That was he was leaving a club in Atlanta. This was around the same time. Now, as far as um Meat and Pop, I don't know if that's true because I've never ever heard that story before. I've never even heard Meech tell that story before. So I don't think that part of it's true.
We'll find out next year.
Yeah, yeah, we'll definitely find. Yeah, when Meech goes down next year, I'm sure we're gonna get a lot of different stuff. But I've
Yeah.
never heard Meech or anybody from BMF say that Meech actually met Pac. So I don't think this scene is 100% accurate. But what is accurate is that Pac was at the convention in 1993. Um, so after that, Meech goes and sees his pops and whatnot. His pops ends up bringing Glock over under the false pretenses that Glock was a record exec and tells him, he offered me a job, and so forth. And it wasn't until Tina came and tells Meech that, like, hey, he has on a voodoo chain. I've seen a bunch of those come into the shop, and everybody that wears those is an MK, which he
Mm-hmm.
finds out that this is none other than Glock. So he tries to get his father out of harm's way, tells him, Spike Lee has a showing going on,
Yeah.
got a screening going
You
on.
should do the right thing.
Yeah. And that's when Glock says, like, hey, you should do the right thing. And,
Listen
and
to your son.
yep. And this is where we find out that Glock basically, like, yeah, like he got Greeny working for him. This is, the,
Mm-hmm.
this is where we found out that Greeny is working for him. So we automatically, which we told y'all, that
That's
Greeny was,
why the MKs were there
yep,
when at the spot because Greeny is working for him.
Greeny is working
Which
with.
which here's the thing though. So with that being said, do you think we get to see Monique again? Because Monique is the one to put him on Greeny. I can't hear you, bro.
I said, if we do, it's not going to be till next season. Because remember,
Mm,
she got out of Dodge because
right,
she unalived a made man that was connected to the mob. So if
right.
we do, we're not gonna see her till next season, maybe. But then at the
Yeah, I
same
think they gotta have
time,
that conversation though.
yeah. But then at the same time, she might not have had even known that Greeny
Good
was
point.
was that type of person. You know
Yeah,
what
good
I'm
point.
saying? And we also it possibly could be that Greeny wasn't. And once the Meech was out there trying to make his stamp, that Glock went and approached, Greeny on the side and was like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I'm gonna give you X amount and you feed me information on Meech or just threaten his life altogether. But I think it was more so it was jealousy. I think more so he went to
I
Glock.
think it was jealousy too.
Yeah, when he found out and saw that Meech was all over Angel and was all interested in her lovey dovey stuff, I think he just went straight to Glock. It was just like, yeah, nah, like because we saw his jealousy, which we'll get to that scene. We saw his whole jealousy thing. So we have Glock and Meech. They have a whole back and forth and whatnot. And Meech tells him like, "Yo, I was just playing, just wait for you to come out the shadows." We got Glock's right hand man here, which I found out his name. I was like, right. I was like, all this time, I was like, his name is um I'm trying to pronounce it right because I thought it was. I was like, I know they didn't get this man a Black Panther name, T'Challa. It's
Mm-hmm.
T'Chaka or something like that. T'Chaka, something like that. But that's his right hand man who had a knife with him the entire time, which looks like they were literally setting Meech up to.
Because Glock said he got security. He was like, you ain't
Yeah,
gotta worry about that. I've got security.
yep.
I
That's
pay
the,
security.
he was like, the security belonged to me. I pay
Yeah, I
all of
pay the
that.
security, and I
So,
pay that pimp too.
yep, pay Greeny. And so that's when a fight ends up breaking out. Now the portion a fight did in real life, a fight did break out in at Jack the Rapper in '93. It was between Luke's and the Death Row camp. As during that time they had a whole beef. If y'all don't know
Mm-hmm.
that beef, just go look it up. But that's what kicked it off. What kicked off a whole fight in '93 at the convention. It had nothing to do with BMF or any of that. It was actually had to do between Death Row and Luke Campbell's camp, which they had a whole beef thing, and of course a whole brawl breaks out. Meech just hitting any and everybody in sight. He goes over, he sees Claw from the Techwood boys, knocks him out, stomps him out. Not sure who was about to get ready to hit Meech, but Charles come through, hit him with the.
My man Raw Dog Charles cleaned him up.
Yeah, when I saw that, I said, okay. I said Charles should throw some
Yeah,
hands. I was
with
like, he
the
came out.
cleanup.
Yeah, I was like, he came through just straight up, just like I was like,
Yeah.
okay, he got some hands. He came through, um, knocks out somebody who was about to get ready to attack Meech. Of course, everything happened up full brawl, and the Red Dogs come in to basically just grab in and everybody. So everybody was able to get out of the convention and whatnot, so forth. And now we move back to Detroit with Lucille and Dr. Maurice sitting here on a bench reminiscing about old times and the popcorn that they used to eat and all this other stuff, back in the days and whatnot. And I'm just like, at this point, I'm like, Lucille, man, like, just go ahead,
Yeah, because you
like,
smitten and all this other stuff. Just
yeah, like you smitten by that man, like, just go ahead. Like,
yeah,
I get it, you holy, and
I
the,
understand. Just
yeah, the divorce not final, and what, just go ahead, like
this is just as
not,
bad. This
yeah,
is just as bad if anything. So you might as
you,
well just go ahead and.
you stay smiling like a schoolgirl around this man.
I'm
So
talking about cheesing and laughing, like his name come up, and she just get to grinning.
get the grin, like I'm talking about blushing, just turn red, just
Man, she was like, "Oh, he's still fine."
yeah.
Yeah,
I forgot that right. She just showed this. Showed it. I forgot all about that. He
Go
sure did.
ahead, ma.
So, Maurice basically tells her, like, hey, I'll let you get away, and we can already tell, like, Maurice, like, hey, I'm about to put in work. I'm not about to let you go again. And in the same
He
process,
did a major move.
major move, he hands her a check to go to the church, and everything, which
It was
Lucille's,
10 bands, wasn't it?
yeah. And I was like, damn, I don't know. I was like, he caked up. I was like, I know Doctor got
Yeah.
bread, but I was like, just to give like a 10 stack for
Back
donation.
then,
Yeah.
whew.
That's what I was
Yeah.
like. I was like, yeah, he caked up. Of course,
Yeah.
Lucille was like, yeah, I can't take it, but she
She
ends up
took it.
taking it anyway.
She took it. She knew she could take it.
Yeah, she ends up taking that check anyway.
Yeah, she was gonna take that. I would have took it. I would have took it.
So
Go ahead, doing
we
that.
got Hoop that comes back to the restaurant to tell T and Sterl about the whole situation. I'm about to say, and then I'm gonna let you rock.
Yeah. You already know what I'm gonna say.
We might say the same thing. I'm trying to figure out why. Okay, T, I get it. It's your restaurant, but I'm like, okay, you serving folks. Why are you serving folks in that big ass BMF chain?
Dude, that's first of all.
I was like, if you the restaurant owner, I'm like, bruh, like this is supposed to be a restaurant for you to wash money, keep a low profile, and all this other stuff. I'm like, and
He
you
shouldn't even be there.
that as well.
He should even be there for one. Let's start with that. Two, no, even if you are there, you shouldn't be coming in with the BMF chain. You should take that off. You should leave that in the car or take that off and leave it at home before you even get there. Everything about that says, I don't want to be here. This looks like a drug dealer spot because you serving people with this big old diamond BMF chain on.
Yep.
Another thing, Novi and Detroit is not close at all. Novi, because he was like, I just walked from Novi. Ain't no way you walk from Novi. Is no way passing all those. When he said that, I was like, you can walk from maybe Royal Oak to Detroit, and that's still a nice little distance. Novi is past Royal Oak. We're talking about a 45-minute hour drive to get to Novi.
Mm.
And you walk in and you pass all those payphones, and you can get in touch with Meech at all. I mean, with T at all, they say, "Hey T, just come pick me up." You know, the travel agent, they make it, or whatever code that you use. That part I just thought was just unrealistic. I was like, he could have went without saying that he walked from Novi. You know, he could have said, "I was trying to get in touch with you."
Yeah.
You know, whatever. But when he said that, people from Detroit like, they ain't walking from no fucking Novi. Come on now. Walking from Novi, that's unrealistic. Ain't nobody.
I mean,
come on now.
I didn't know how far it was, but that
As far as
scene,
hell.
the scene in general, like you said, it was just unreal. Because I'm like, dude, I'm like, you work in your restaurant. I'm like, you serving the people with this big ass BMF chain on one, and then I'm like, two, I'm like, Hoop just come in that joint, like ain't nobody else in the spot, and just talking about, man, we got a problem with that, and I'm like, dude, I'm like,
yeah, we got a problem with the delivery.
I'm like all out on blast in front of people and all this other stuff. I'm like, for real? Like, I was just like, dude, like, that's yeah. This whole scene was just unrealistic. But
yeah, man, they could have did better with this.
could have did way better. But Hoot tell T and Stir about the whole situation. The feds getting a drop on us. As soon as we roll up, it just Jen and Emerson, they come out, just start firing off and whatnot. Hoop thinks that Cuts got locked up, end up getting caught, and he got locked up. And Sterl tells T like, "Hey, he's solid. We good. We ain't got to worry about nothing. He ride or die, so we all good. Everything's good to go." And from that point on, that's where Sterl gives him the ideas like, "Yo, Henrietta's smart. She got Brian working for her. Like, we we need to do the exact same thing. We need to try to get on the same side of doing that exact same thing because like she's smart. I got to give it to her or whatnot." So that's when T comes up with the idea of trying to, which we saw later on in the episode, which we'll get to, that he tries to pull Detective Bryant back over to the BMF side.
Mm-hmm.
And here we see Tender DT again, which now we actually see he actually does have an apartment, which we thought was a lie, which he should have had a long time ago, but
Long time ago.
There should have been no way you should have been still living at your parents' house. But we see him here at his apartment with none other than Markeisha. And I'm like, damn, dog. I was just giving you props earlier. I was giving you props. You stood your ground.
When I saw her there, I was like, she got him because it ain't no way. I was like, she right back in there. It's no way. The best thing for him to do was to stay far away. There was the only tie that they had, which really ain't even no tie because we don't even know if her name is on anything, is the house.
Yeah.
She'd be out on her ass. Like, they don't have no kids together or nothing like that.
Nothing.
Like, you got to figure this out, lady.
Yeah, you got to figure that out.
You don't want to be together. That was the requirements of you staying here. Or you don't want us to live together. That was the requirements of you staying here. You out.
Exactly. I was just mad. I was like, man, I just gave you props, and I was like, nah, I see why Meech called you what he called you. Their name
Right.
now Tender DT.
Tender DT.
You let her come right back in like ain't nothing happened, whatnot. Yeah, we gonna be together. I got this for Terry Jr. and all this other stuff, and automatically she just got you. She got your
The
nose
moment she
wide
pops up, the moment she pop up, you right back.
right back. So we saw right back. They about to get into it, and then Lucille pops up at his spot.
Perfect timing.
I'm trying to figure out how Lucille even know where he lives.
I thought about that too.
I was like, how does she even figure that out? And I'm thinking, like, does LaWanda even know he got a crib? Like, because I'm thinking, like,
I don't think LaWanda knows because if LaWanda knew, then LaWanda probably would just be doing random pop ups.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, like, so Lucille pops up, basically tells Markeisha, like, yeah, you got to go. I need to talk to my son. And everything. Markeisha killed me with that. How you doing, Miss Flannery? I was like, yeah, shorty, you need to go ahead and get up on out of that train.
Yeah.
Lucille not playing with you. I was like, she ain't playing by the longest shot.
You're about the same age anyway. She might go ahead and clean you up herself.
Yeah. So Lucille pops up Terry's crib and she wants to talk to him about because she heard the news about CPS taking Terry Jr. And she begs and pleads with him, to make sure to get in front of this because this is serious. And this is where we also find out that Lucille has been through foster care herself, which is why she feels so strongly about making sure that Terry Jr. does not go into, as well as their unborn baby, go into the foster care system. Because she knows how it is, she knows how it feels, and she doesn't want that for her grandchildren. So she tells T, this is serious. You need to get on it. You need to do everything you can to make sure that CPS does not take Terry Jr. away from you. So back in Atlanta, we got Meech and Charles here driving after the whole fight, and Meech is just checking in on everybody, and we get another heart-to-heart from Meech and Charles, where Meech basically tells him like, I left, to chase my dream, and I'm still chasing my dream, so I really, really need you to sign those papers on the house so that I can continue to pursue my dream and keep chasing my dreams. Which I guess at some point it got he persuaded Charles enough because Charles went on ahead and signed the papers, and they closed the deal on the house. So Meech now has a new crib, um, apparently a safer crib that Charles signed the deed on. And before he leaves, they have yet again another heart to heart, and they shake hands, and Charles goes back off to Detroit.
Hmm.
And we're back here in Detroit again, where Henrietta is, of course, we all know she's with a new thing now after unaliving Peaches. We got her back here while her cousin Tyson is sitting over here just snorting up a storm. This was another unrealistic scene because I'm like, yo, as hard and pause and fast that he's snorting, that man should have
Man,
went. He should have had an OD.
easily.
I'm like, there's I'm talking about like we weren't even getting like a 5 second pause. He was just like every 2-3 seconds, like he just going like just ham. And I'm like, and I'm thinking like, yo,
Bare minimum a nosebleed.
something. Like something. I'm like, bruh's just getting high. Like, and it's crazy thinking about it was like, coke is an upper. I would have thought at some point, like we would have saw him get like super hype. He wasn't even super hype. That man was just
Hmm.
like he was out of it, but he was getting high due to the fact that uh their cousin Twan got taken out, and I'm guessing one or two things, like he feeling guilty because it was supposed to be him on that drive and instead of Twan, and then two, of course, Twan getting taken out. I forgot to um to point out also that we found out that Henrietta was the one who stole the Chaldeans away from BMF. Because remember when T tried to reach out to them to get some work while they were waiting to find a plug, before Loco showed up, he tried to reach out to him and they wasn't rocking with him. We found out that Henrietta was the one who stole the Chaldeans away from BMF, and that's who she was getting her work from. During the process, she tells her cousin Tyson that I'm gonna make sure that any and everybody that has something to do with unaliving our cousin Twan, they're gonna feel it and they're gonna go down 6 feet in the dirt. Back here in Atlanta, we got the pimp Greenie and Angel. And as we can see his jealousy. He mad at her, like, I don't care how many ball players and all this stuff. You can't do none of this without me. It makes her repeat it, which she does. As we know, Angel is a runaway. So we already know what type of character Greenie is. I could tell, especially when I saw that Cadillac. I was like, oh yeah, he one of them old Mac Daddy.
Old school. Nah, I'm talking about
Yeah,
pimps.
he one of them old
You on the
school
right
type
track
pimp.
but the wrong train.
Yep. Like he one of them old school type pimps. And doing while they're having the whole thing, Duffy and Meech roll up, jack him up out the car, and beat the brakes off of him as they found out from Glock that he works with Glock. He found out that Greenie works with Glock, and Greenie was the one who set both of them up when they was trying to go quote unquote meet with the Miami the Miami plug for Glock. Find that out. I actually thought that I mean not Glock, that Duffy was gonna go ahead and take him out under, what I'm saying, not listening to Meech, but he doesn't. He just takes a broken beer bottle or whatnot and stabs him. Like I said, they beat the crap out of Greenie, and Greenie's just like, okay, it is what it is now. Y'all gonna see me. So what we do know is that at some point, I don't know if it's gonna be Greenie himself or if he's gonna get the MKs to do his dirty work, but we know that Greenie is definitely gonna retaliate towards Meech and Duffy as well as Angel, for Angel leaving with Meech and for Meech and Duffy jumping him. So Meech here takes Angel back to his crib with the no furniture that he got, that he doesn't got yet, and he got another heart to heart. That was like this whole episode was nothing but just like heart to hearts. But I guess, like you said, it was a filler episode. We kind of got some
Mm-hmm.
backstories on the different characters or whatnot. And Beach just tells, Angel, I got you. You're gonna be safe here. Whatnot. You can stay here. So we all knew. We've been saying this since episode one that Angel is going to be, Meech's new love interest. So we already know that he about to take care of Angel for the rest of the season, unless Green ends up taking her out or something like that, unaliving her. But she ends up staying at Meech's crib for the night. So far, I'm not sure if she's gonna be there permanent, but we know, yeah, Meech gonna make sure that Angel is good. Raw Dog Charles flies back to Detroit, and I was
He
like,
thought he was about to go ahead and get him a piece.
yo, he still got on the same fit. Yeah, it tripped me out because he came in all dancing and happy, and I'm like, bruh, like
Yeah.
I was lost by that.
Read the room, my man.
Yeah, I was, but it was lost anyway because I'm like, before you left, Lucille was not rocking with you. She had
Yeah.
you sleeping. She got you sleeping in Terry's room. So when he came back dancing, I was like, bro,
Read the room.
like what you doing? Like you think like I guess maybe he thought because he was, he was fly. Like okay, she might like this, and now I'm back in or whatever. But he sees Lucille in the kitchen, speaks with Lucille, and Lucille ends up telling him the whole situation about Terry Jr. and the CPS, and lets him know what's going on with that, how serious it is, and after that, pretty much says, I'm going to bed, and during that process, um, Charles here pulls out a picture with him and Meech, which I guess he was going to show to Lucille. My only question about this picture, I'm trying to figure out like when it happened. Like, because I'm like, you signed the paper. So I'm like, did you sign the papers? Go take the picture. Go to
Jack the Rapper.
no, not even Jack the Rapper, because remember they didn't get the house till afterwards.
But that's the shirt he got on going to Jack the
I
Rapper.
know. Yeah, that's the shirt. But remember, it wasn't until after the fight he went and bought the crib. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, after y'all signed the papers, they took the picture. My question is, where they go get it developed at from that fast? Because we talking 93.
They went to CVS.
I don't remember CVS or any of them places having that quick of a turnaround.
They did. No, they did not. They didn't have a quick return around at all. Matter of fact, I think most of the time you had the little Polaroid shake joint where you had to put the flash on top.
Yeah.
And you had the old school Polaroid shake joint, but you had to take it somewhere else to get it to blow it up to get it that size.
Yeah. So I was trying to figure out, when I saw the picture, I was like, bro, how you get the picture that big, that fast in a frame? I'm like, this 93, like, and I'm like, ain't no way you got it, you know what I'm saying? But during that whole process, he goes into Lucille's purse and he sees the check that Dr. Maurice gave her for $10,000. Although it wasn't addressed to her, it was addressed to the church. We knew immediately, like, we could tell from his face, like, okay, somebody else in the picture. And I was trying to think, like, if he even remembered Dr. Maurice.
Man, Charles is done for. You can Raw Dog Charles. You have a lot. You up against a lot. You don't have a leg to stand on at this point. Like I think they beef stems all the way back from when he first kicked Meech out the house. Like Lucille didn't like that to begin with. So that's really where it stems from. You kick Meech out the house, and that's when the disrespect, or I don't even go say disrespect, the disregard for Charles start coming in, and the resentment with Lucille. Now you got this dude who's successful. Lucille found him good looking. Y'all on the wrong side of the fence of things. He's vulnerable. All you got to do is say the right things, and Charles, you gonna be living in a house by yourself.
Yeah, man. Matter of fact, now that you said that, yo, you made a good point. I didn't even think about that, because that's definitely when it started. It started when they each out the house, and then after that, she started finding the magazines in his guitar case.
Yeah, like she felt some type of way with him kicking Meech out the house. So she really was trying to process that. Like, you kicked my son out the house. Their whole thing was protecting him from T,
Mhm.
which you could see that he always treated Meech as an outcast versus T. Even when he found out T was selling drugs, he didn't kick T out the house.
Nope. That T ended up staying
So
there.
yeah, so I think like that's where the rip came in at, and now we're going to see it goes further and further and further as Maurice, expose that vulnerability a little bit.
Yeah, that's definitely exactly what's about to happen. So I'm very curious on next episode to see if he even going to mention anything about Maurice or this check to Lucille or whatnot.
He shouldn't. He ain't got a leg to stand on. He ain't got no room for that right now.
He probably
He
will though.
don't. That's just me being real.
He
He
don't,
probably
but he
he
probably going to end up still saying, this is my
yeah
house and all this other stuff.
yeah. You got no room. You got no leg to stand on right here, my brother.
None at all. So we got Detective Brian here, up at Juvie to visit his son Kevin, which Kevin comes hobbling in, holding his ribs or whatnot. So we know that Kevin has been getting probably bullied, jumped, everything while he's been in juvie. Um, Detective Bryant reassures him again, like, "Hey, I'm doing everything I can. I'm getting the best lawyer for you, and don't worry, I'm going to get you out of here ASAP as soon as possible." After Detective Brian leaves juvie, he bumps into T, who is standing outside waiting for him. T is while waiting for him, T tells Detective Brian, like, "Hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can help each other out, And I thought here T was going to propose to bring Detective Brian in for them to work together. I thought he was going to propose, like, "Hey, okay, you come back like how you used to do for Meech. You work on my side. I'll make sure that your son is protected while he's in juvie." That's what I thought he was
Mm-hmm.
going to propose to Detective Brian, because we know Brian could do anything for his son. That's what I thought he was going to propose to him, but he didn't really give him no proposal at all.
You you know what? Because when I looked at it, I was like, yo, I was thinking like, did he got something to do with little Kevin getting hands put on him inside of the jail? Because that is that how he? Because how he just pop up at the jail like that? How do you know that he was going to be there? You knew like that had to be planted in order for you to meet him up there to have that type of conversation. And now since he pretty much turned your hand down, what's going to happen to little Kevin now? Like, is more hands and feet going to be put on him while he's in jail?
You know what? I didn't even think about that. He might have possibly to get the upper hand, but then at the same time, I don't think. Now that you say that, at the same time, I don't think T would, because that would be something Meech would do. T wasn't that T wasn't that type of person, and it's like it's a kid, you know what I'm saying? But you got a great theory on that. That could
Because
possibly
how
be.
would T
Hey,
just pop up though? You know what I'm saying? Like T just
I
knew
mean,
he was going to be there.
maybe I guess follow him. I'm not even sure. Maybe everybody knew, you know what I'm saying, the whole situation of, Kevin being
Mm.
locked up or whatnot. But we all know this stemmed from when Sterl told him at the restaurant, like, "Hey, we need to get him back on our side and whatnot." And he tries to go get Bryant back on his side and whatnot. And Bryant tells him no, doesn't oblige. And so now we just got to see what's T next move. We finally at least see T. He got a new car now. He got a Range Rover here. So we know TT getting money, but
Well,
yeah, man,
somebody getting money.
somebody's getting money. But that's how the episode ends. As T tries to get Brian back on his side, Brian does not oblige, and now we're wondering what's next between T and Brian, and what is T's next move. So on the upcoming episode for episode 4, we know that Meech has came back to Detroit. Meech jumping off the private jet, he's coming back to Detroit and everything. Um, we know Henrietta finds out that Meech just came back to Detroit as well. So Detective Bryant goes on this whole thing of basically, following Meech around, watching him and whatnot. See Meech come back, get a warm welcome um, from the whole BMF crew in Detroit here at Terry's restaurant. So we know that everybody's going to love that Meech is back in town. Everybody's probably going to be going to Meech to complain about Terry and how Terry been running things and what's going on and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. Again, as I said earlier, we know Detective Brian is watching Meech and watching what they're doing, as well as watching T, as we see they're here at a private airport strip. Um, this scene here, I'm extremely curious about, as that's Jen and Amberson. Now, I don't know if I'm torn between, because there's somebody over in the right hand side. Now I'm torn between if they're kicking in the door to possibly this is where Cuts has been hiding, or if they're coming in.
I thought they took Cuss into custody though.
We never saw. All we saw was Amberson run after him. We never saw if he got caught in that.
But I thought, oh right, but that's just Hoop thinking that Cuts got caught, because I could have sworn
Yeah,
Hoop said something about
yeah.
Cuts
Who
is
think that he got caught, but we never saw him get caught though. So
right.
it looks like here, because there is, matter of fact, yeah, I'm thinking this is because there's, as you can see, there's an NWA poster in the background. I'm thinking this is possibly where Cuts has been laying low, and they finally got the drop on him, and they go bust in to yeah, to bring him in, lock him up for the unaliving of Saint whatnot. And here we got Meech right here, which looks like he is driving a van of some sort or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So he possibly could be bringing the work in or moving the work or whatnot. But like I said, I'm very curious to see that last scene right there and whatnot. And that's it. So
I think we
definitely
definitely gonna get more action in the next episode. Definitely
is
more
yeah,
movement.
that's episode 4. Yeah, so we definitely about to get ready to pick up on everything of what's going on. And definitely from the trailer, we could tell that we about to get a little bit more action coming up for
Mm-hmm.
the next episode or whatnot. So please, y'all make sure like, subscribe. Y'all also drop y'all comments down below and let us know what y'all thought of episode 3, Sanctuary. Also, be on the lookout this week, more than likely on Monday. Sometime we're going to drop our prediction video again for episode 4 of BMF. And we will see y'all next week to bring y'all another review and recap of BMF.